Alrighty, so today what I'm going to talk about is a little bit how to start off making this mug and how to get some of the curvature. So again, our assignment is to make a coil mug where we take coils and we add a curvature. So if you look here, let me see if I can make this a little darker. There we go. We're going to want a mug that's going to have a nice curve to it. Nothing that goes straight up and down. A nice curve to that mug is the goal here. Symmetrical, even wall thickness, and a nice design. So what we're going to do is I started off by making my coil bottom. So I took a coil and I kind of blended this together and made a nice circle that I'm going to start adding my coils to. Now a couple things when we roll our coils. One of the things that I want us to do is we were rolling coils for our coil pot to be index finger thickness. So I'll show you what that looks like. So there's an index finger coil thickness, so about the size of my index finger. So now I'm going to show you a pinky thick coil. So I'll put that to the side. Now we're just going to roll this a lot thinner. That way our mug's not so bulky, right? We want something nice and thin that we can drink out of. Something that's going to be comfortable in our hand. So I'm rolling this. It's going to get a lot longer. So you can kind of see the difference here between these two. This one's closer to my pinky, and the top one's closer to my index finger. So that's kind of where we want to be with our coils. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to rough up the bottom edge here. If you have a plastic fork at home, this is going to make life a lot easier for you. The needle takes a little while. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and spray this a little bit with some water. And I'm going to stack my first coil on. And I'm going to make it just even with the outside edge of my mug bottom. And then what I'm going to do is cut this just like so. And again, I'm going to make it so it's nice and even with the edge of my bottom. I don't want it sticking out. Make it nice and even. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to blend this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and gently blend. You can use a tool to do this too. Just like when we did our coil pots, I'm not taking a lot of the clay. If you look, I'm just using a little bit to blend that clay in. The reason for that is I want some good surface area up here on the top to be able to blend in my next coil. So there we go. Now I'm going to add my next coil. Now I want this to start going outwards. So if I were to just stack my next coil directly on top, it's not going to go out, it's going to go straight up. I want to stack this coil a little bit on the outside of the previous one. So what I'll do is I'll come in and kind of rough this up just a little bit. Doesn't have to be aggressive. Give it a spray. And then I'm just going to stack this coil just a little bit on the outside. I'm going to cut it so it's nice and even, just like so. And if you look, I'm trying to go just a little bit outward with this. So I want to see a little bit of that inside coil. And this is going to allow my mug to start going outward. So I'm going to blend this in now, going to the next coil. So I'm going to take it right from the top here. And I'm going to blend down. Blending, blending. Again, just trying to get the same amount of clay each time. Otherwise, that's how my walls don't stay the same thickness. And then I can kind of come in and even that out. And you'll see my mug is starting to go outwards now. So now I'm going to blend the outside a little bit. Just evening out some of those coils, blending that stuff together. Then I can take my thumb and kind of smooth some of these areas and even some of these areas out. Now this is looking sloppy obviously, but I got a lot of work to do to it still. But you can see how I'm starting to get this curve to it to where it's starting to go out. What I like to do at this point is take my rib tool and smooth out the edges on the outside a little bit. Take my sponge. Start smoothing the outside of my mug to start to look kind of smooth, and then voila. So I'll start and keep adding coils. Obviously we won't do most of our smoothing until the end, but now you can see I'm starting to get a mug that goes outward a little bit, and then obviously as I keep adding these coils, I'll start to get the shape of the mug that I was hoping for. Alright, now if I wanted to go inward with one of those coils and make it start to change the shape a little bit, again, I'm going to roll a pinky thick coil. And now I would place that next coil, if I wanted to go in, I'd place it a little inwards of my last coil. To go out, I go a little outwards. To go straight up, I go directly on top. And to go in, I move it a little bit inwards. Okay? So that's how we change the direction to get nice curvatures of our mug. Okay? So go ahead, continue working on that. Once we get a little bit closer towards the end, we'll talk about adding the foot and adding the handle. So get cranking and enjoy.